Okay, good afternoon. This is day 133 for making little videos to share a day in the life of the schizophrenic. My name is Dominic. I experienced schizophrenia. I've experienced it probably my whole life. And I've written a book on medium.com to describe my thought processes. It could have gotten me targeted for what I believe is schizophrenic affliction. I believe I am not necessarily diseased, but that I experience a mental illness that's tied into technologies and weaponized forms of harassment and things like that. I talk about that technology in the book, as well as my thought processes. And I have on day 17 described why I call myself a schizophrenic rather than targeted individual. And at day 45, I express why I make these videos in the first place. They're done. I think I'm choosing to try to humanize myself amidst people thinking he's kind of crazy and radical, or I don't know what they think. Like, he's a crazy person. I don't know. And all right. So today is going to be just talking about things that I did today. I'll talk a little bit about a book that I'm reading called Clandlands. It's by two Scottish actors named Graham McTavish and Sam Hugan. And they are going around New Zealand writing a book about their buddy banter and travels around New Zealand. And in this today, the few pages that I read were about how Graham McTavish uh, didn't want to slide down a rock slide, and I relate to this because I see those rock slides and I see people like trying to slide down them, and I think to myself, that's kind of crazy. You're gonna hurt yourself. But I guess it's fun for people. I remember we went to the rock slides in Sedona, and those seemed a little crazy, but the kids were out there having fun. I guess it's kind of fun. I would do water parks, like slides like that, at a water park, and I don't know if I would go at my age now, but like uh, when I was younger, I would like to go to water parks and stuff. And my favorite was Raging Waters, and I remember there was a slide there called the Treetop Slide that I remember. So that was fun reading out of that book today. Uh, in the Not So Misfit Odyssey, I'm reading about a Juanito and Unger trying to escape the slaughterhouse. I think they're in Argentina, as I understand. And the book's going very well. And um, obviously, it makes you think about immigration and people migrating to and from countries around the world. And they're trying to get to Texas, and a lot of people from Latin America end up in Texas. And obviously, there's the crazy stuff going on in Texas right now. I don't live in Texas, so I don't know it from that perspective. I just know it from the perspective that Trump is looking like he's going to lose the midterms, and he decided he wanted to, midway through the term for redistricting, decide to redistrict lines and gerrymander 5 seats. And now Gavin Newsom's gerrymandering 50 seats. So I guess we're just going to do its gerrymander battle now. Uh, I side with Gavin, but I can't tell you that I'm gonna vote for the gerrymandering in California. I may just leave it up to the rest of society to decide what to do with that. Uh, I think I might take myself out of that decision. I guess that's not taking responsibility, but I mean, it's weird because it's like you're voting for the end of democracy, I guess. But Trump is not. Obviously, I'm wearing this shirt where Trump is not respecting due process, so we're at desperate times here. and I guess desperate times call for desperate measures. But it's Trump's weird mind. He might be thinking the same thing. So it's like everybody's thinking desperate times call for desperate measures. And it's just, I don't know. All right. So, although Trump's not really in a desperate time, is he? He's a billionaire. Um, Speaking of like immigration and people complaining, a lot of times this anti-immigration push in America, people like to complain that their customs and culture is changing or they're being encroached upon from the outside world. And a lot of us don't care about that and we welcome those kind of things. But some people like their little characterizations and character of their neighborhoods and stuff like that. And they don't like it to change all that much or whatever. And I was thinking like today there was the football game between Kansas State and Iowa State in Ireland, and that's an American cultural tradition. But Ireland was saying, "Welcome to Ireland. Bring your cultural tradition here for a moment, at least," and saying, "Play your football game here in our grand stadium." And I think it's cool that they do that, and I think it's cool that we do go there. I think it's cool that the colleges go there for the game. It's a lot of fun, and uh, it's always exciting to kick off the football season with that. Now that that's kind of become like a little bit of like a classic kind of game, and in thinking about the 19th Amendment being potentially threatened because the Secretary of Defense, his church believes that women shouldn't have the right to vote, and that came out in the last month or whatever. And I don't know why it didn't come out sooner than that, but I don't know how he passed a nomination process in the Senate without that being widely circulated. But uh, that just the fact that they're putting somebody up there with that basic belief system makes you think like it's about time. It's worthy of saying like I think it's time to get out of this country or whatever. But in saying that, you leave the country, all the problems of this country could potentially follow you. I don't know that women not being able to vote would follow you to another country necessarily, but I don't know. There's this kind of this patriarchal backlash to women's rights and immigrant rights and diversity, equity, and inclusion, and people are desperately hanging on to their power. And so, yeah. Anyway, so in thinking about like where we would go if we left, and we actually said this the other day, if Trump gets a third term, uh, certain family members in my family want to leave the country. I won't say who they are. And I don't know that we will end up doing that because it's a big undertaking to leave the country. But if we did leave the country and let's say we went to Ireland or something like that, uh, I kind of would like for our cultural things to go with us. Like baseball. It'd be cool if Ireland got baseball. Selfishly, I want Ireland to have baseball. I don't know if Ireland would like that or whatever, but like yeah, that's I always wanted baseball to get to Ireland, and if I don't know. I have this like dream of like going to a baseball game in Ireland. It's kind of a weird dream. I don't know how that would come about or how I would be in Ireland to watch the game. Maybe I'd just be visiting or something. But I do have this like I don't even know if the Irish would like baseball, but I think they would. It's kind of a peaceful pastoral game or whatever, so maybe they would like it. All right, so that's kind of cool that the football is going to Ireland, and I think England's going to do some football. I think Mexico does some football. Uh, so that's cool. I was reading in my baseball book about the baseball parks that we were going to go visit, and we haven't really made any concrete plans on that. But Citizen Bank Ballpark in Philadelphia is what I'm reading about right now. And it looks like a cool ballpark, even though I'm kind of scared of Philadelphia fans, and especially as a schizophrenic. But uh, I guess I would like to go back to Philadelphia and visit that city and see it more mature, as I went there when I was like 18 or 19, and I had a basic understanding of things from the perspective of a high schooler coming out of high school. And so it'd be nice to go there at 40 and really see, like, you know, how delicate the situation was in this country for the principles and the Constitution and values of revolution and progress and idealism and stuff. And so it'd be nice to see that a little bit. And so, all right. In my book on, let's see, what book was this in? One of my books, they were talking about virtual worlds and the idea. Oh, it was in the Homo Deus. And no, Yuval Harari is Yuval Noah Harari. I get his name wrong. He was saying that virtual worlds are potentially infinite, and so how do we know we're not in a virtual world? And I question like what my dream frequencies are. Like, where do we go when we're in dream frequencies? Everything seems real. How you can't tell you're in the dream when you're in the dream. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you know you're in the dream. A lot for me, a lot of times I know I'm in the dream when I'm dreaming, and I do uh, when I'm in the dream and I know I'm dreaming. There's like no consequences for what I do, and it's like it's all fake and pretend or whatever. And so that's when I'm in the dream and I have an understanding like it's the dream world. But like really, where am I? And I can't not think that in the dream. And what I need to like start thinking like, what am I doing in this dream? And where am I? And what are the effects on the people in the dreams and stuff? Because like we could be in a dream reality right now, and people doing all kinds of crazy stuff could be thinking they're in a dream or something. Anyways, so uh yeah, I don't know where we are when we dream, and or what digital realities, where those are in the scheme of things, and if this world could be a digital reality, or it's kind of weird to think about, but a lot of people talk about that stuff. And it was in Homo Deus today, and they were talking about the Turing test, which was the Turing test is when you test a computer, you take a person and an AI, and they put them on a screen or whatever, and you start talking to the person and you start talking to the AI, but you don't know what's what. And based on their answers, you determine who's who. And if you can't tell the difference, then the AI passes the Turing test. And uh, Harari says that this was an evidence, or this was created because a gentleman who was gay, who was persecuted by the British government in like the 1950s and 60s, developed this test, or I think it was 60s. And he developed this test because he knew that, according to Harari's the way he describes it, he says he knew it didn't matter what he thought of himself, it mattered what other people thought of him. And that's basically what Harari is saying. Until if the AI passes the Turing test, then we say it has consciousness and it's like it's an entity. Or so it's all dependent on what we think of the AI. Do we think the AI has consciousness? Then it has consciousness or something. And so that's it. Harari was saying about that. Um, okay, so that's kind of what I was thinking about today in my day. Like I say, wearing this shirt, we are all due process because when you hear what's going on with KIlmar Abrego Garcia, and they're sending him to Uganda, and um, I mean it's a travesty of our system that it's being allowed to happen, and it's un-American, and I don't know. I guess people don't care about American principles and democracy and due process and the Fourth Amendment and all that. I don't, what system do, I mean, maybe people who are supportive of Trump can say, what system do you support if you don't support due process for people and you just ship them to any country you feel like? And I don't know what's, it's like maybe because we don't hear the thought process behind it, and people don't want to share their thought process behind it because it's ugly. I don't I don't know. It just seems Trump just says bad, good and bad. Take the bad out. Get rid of bad. And it's a very simplistic way of looking at other human beings. And so and they're just treating the country like a country club. And so anyways, that happened today, and I'll just tie that real quick. But all right, goodbye.